I've supported Portsmouth Football Club since I was about 8 years old. That's when I went to my first game at Fratton Park. It was against Hull City. Pompey won 3-1. I went with my dad. We stood on the Milton end with his brothers and my cousins. I've been a fan ever since. I'm the chair of SOS Pompey, but I've also been on the board of the Pompey Supporters Trust. I'm the main media outlet for the Supporters Trust as well. It means pretty much everything to me. It's always been my sporting love, Portsmouth Football Club, since I first went up there with my dad. I've got so many cherished memories of going to watch Pompey play over the years, and it's sort of taken on a life of its own since SOS Pompey was formed. I've had some wonderful memories of following Pompey over the years. There's so many great games. I mean, there's the famous game in 1980 when Pompey were a third division side, and we played away to the champions of Europe in the League Cup. And Liverpool local radio put out an urgent appeal for Liverpool fans to go to the game that night, because for the first time in the history of the club, there were more away fans than there were home fans. Obviously the FA Cup final in 2008 when we won the Cup, that was a special day. I've got a lot of mixed thoughts about where we are at the moment. Anger is the main one. It should never have happened. We've been sold down the river by feckless owners who can't even point to Portsmouth on a map, let alone what's happening at Fratton Park. This all really started shortly after we won the FA Cup 2008. Sasha Guidermack, who was the owner of Portsmouth Football Club at the time, decided that he was going to withdraw all funding. The fact is, he never put any funding in the first place. It was his father, Arcady Guidermack. It was sold by Suleiman Al Fahim, who is probably the only skint oil sheikh in the world. Mr. Al Fahim sold it on after 40 days to Ali Al Faraj, whose company Falcon Drone owned the club. Unfortunately, Ali Al Faraj doesn't exist. His entire fit and proper person test was a photocopy which was faxed over to the Premier League. Nobody from Premier League has ever spoken to the man, seen the man. Mr. Ali Al Faraj, in turn, got into, we're called it, financial difficulties, and is supposed to have taken out a loan from Pompey for £18 million. Pompey then foreclosed on the club and took the club over, put it into administration soon after, becoming the first ever Premier League club to go into administration. The Portsmouth Football Club will never die, because it will live on in the hearts of the people that have supported it for generations. There's thousands of fans that have memories of going to football, whether they still do or not is immaterial. You have 250,000 people who turned out on Southsea Common to see the FA Cup come home. Portsmouth Football Club will never die, even if we're playing on Bransbury Park. I mean, we've always said if we played in the street, we'd watch from the pavement. But now, fortunately, we're on the cusp of creating football history with the biggest fans buyout in English football ever. We've now exchanged contracts. We've got a small legal hurdle to get over, and the club will be in the rightful hands of the only people who actually care for it. There's a real spirit about Portsmouth people. We won't be downtrodden. Napoleon tried it. He got his ass kicked back across the English Channel. Hitler tried to bomb this city out of existence. There's this thing about Portsmouth people, against adversity, that's when they're at their best. And they keep going. And the club, we know, is going through bad times. I've seen Pompey when we were literally a goal away from being bottom of the old 4th division many years ago. The crowds were great then, they'll still be great now. The crowds will increase as soon as the trust takes over, because it'll be our club. We go because it's ours.